Welcome to lesson number 28 of the series Learn to Play the Violin with Me. Please tune your violin, please rosin your bow if it needs it, and we'll get started. I'm going to turn the 15-minute timer on, and here we go. Let's look at page number 20 of the violin, book 1, Essential Elements. We were working on number 67, Pepperoni Pizza. As a warm-up, let's clap and count the rhythm of Pepperoni Pizza before we play it. So remember, we were just learning about eighth notes. Eighth notes are worth a half a beat each. Two of them fit inside one beat. If you look at the top of the page, you'll see the review for that. And we count eighth notes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If you're tapping your foot when you play, you're tapping on the steady beat on those numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. But when you're playing eighth notes, since there are two of them inside each beat, you're going to be playing or clapping two notes for every one foot tap, like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a measure full of eighth notes. Let's look at 67 and let's clap and count together the rhythm. Ready, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. We don't say anything for beat 4 there because it's a quarter rest. It's called Pepperoni Pizza because if you remember from last lesson, it's the same rhythm of Pepperoni Pizza. So if you want to say that in your head or out loud while you play, go for it. Whatever helps you play the rhythm correctly. Let's make sure we get into the correct playing position. We're starting on high D, which is the third finger on the A string. A, B, C sharp, D. Because remember, I'm still learning too, so I still kind of like to do that to make sure my finger is in the correct position. So we have D. That's where we're starting on number 67. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest. Okay, a couple things that happened with me there. I accidentally put my finger on the wrong string for the F sharp for some reason, and then my angle was off, so I started playing two notes at once in the last measure. So the first remedy for that is slowing down, so my brain has enough time, my fingers have enough time to catch up with what my brain is doing, and vice versa, or whichever one, so that they're in sync. Let's try it again. Let's go slower. So if there's a part that you keep messing up, first remedy we want to do is slow down the tempo or the speed so that our brain has more time to process. Let's try it again. Starting on D. D. 1, 2, ready, and. Rest. All right, let's try that again to make sure on my part it wasn't a mistake, me playing it correctly. Here we go. Ready? Won't hurt to try it one more time. Here we go. 67. 1, 2, ready, play. Whoops. Okay, already not off to a great start. My angle was off, so I was playing both D's at once. Got to adjust that. 1, 2, ready, play. Rest. All right, let's move on to number 68, rhythm rap. We are going to clap and count this one instead of shadow bowing. So you see on beat 1, we have a quarter note. Then on beat 2, we have 2 eighth notes, so it's 2 and. On beat 3 is a quarter note. In beat 4 is 2 eighth notes, so 4 and. So it sounds like this for measure 1. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Or you may have learned in music, ta, ti, ti, ta, T, T, maybe you recognize them by those syllables. Maybe do, day, do, day. Those are all the same. They all result in the same rhythm being played, but those are just rhythmic syllables that are used to help. We are going to use counting underneath that it says. Here we go. Let's try it. Let's try to sight read the rhythm for number 68. Ready, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're following a pattern still. So it's quarter note, eighth notes, quarter note, eighth notes. So that is the rhythm that we're then playing for number 69, the D major scale up, starting on low D, ending on high D. In that rhythm, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Here we go. Let's try. Let's sight read number 69 nice and slow so our brain can process everything. Take a moment to check your left hand form. Make sure your wrist is straight. Make sure your fingers are curved. And yeah, all right, let's try it. Here we go. So open D to start, nice and slow. Starting with a down bow. 1, 2, ready, play. D, 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 E, 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 F sharp, F, F, G, 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 A, B, B, C sharp, C, D. Rest. All right, let's break that up. Let's try measures 1 and 2. Those two measures all happen on the D string. So let's practice measures 1 and 2 first, then we'll practice measures 3 and 4. Measure 1 and 2. 1, 2, and ready, play. 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, let's try that again. Ready, play. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. All right, let's try that again. Me personally, I'm going to try not looking at my fingers this time so I can feel that habit forming, and that's not a good habit to form. So I need to consciously be aware. If there's something that you kind of keep doing that you have to remind yourself of the same thing, don't be afraid to write it down in your music as a visual reminder. Circle what you have to, write down what you have to, so that you can break any bad habits here in the beginning stages of learning the instrument so that they don't kind of become ingrained in our playing. Let's try it again. I'm going to try not to look. So let's all try to keep our eyes just on the music for measures 1 and 2, and let's see what happens. Ready, play. 1, 2, and. Let's try measures 3 and 4. These two measures take place on the A string, starting with open A. 1 and 2 and ready, play. Rest. All right, let's try that again, starting on open A. Try not to look at your fingers. Try to keep your eyes on the music. I will too. 1 and 2 and ready, play. All right, let's put it together, starting measure 1. See how much you can do of this piece without looking at your hands. 1, 2, the whole way through. And all right, good. Let's try it again. Notice in measure 3, what I noticed about that run through was that I think it was my B was a little bit flat, but I adjusted. I kept myself from not looking at my fingers, and I just adjusted without looking, doing it by ear. So that is great. All right, I'm proud of myself for being able to do that and not looking at my hands at all. Let's try it again. Not to say it's going to be this good this time, but that's okay. Here we go. Let's see. 1 and 2 and ready, play. All right, so you probably heard, or if you rewind it and listen to my playing, you can hear that some of the notes, my finger placement wasn't quite right, so some of the notes were off, and I had to kind of adjust as I was going, so it might have sounded a little wonky. But that's all part of the learning process. We're learning to adjust these things by ear, just by hearing it. So we are improving our ear every single time that we're playing because we can recognize the exact pitches we should be on. We're also increasing the speed every time we adjust. We're increasing the speed at which we can adjust until eventually we'll be able to do it so quickly that maybe nobody even listening will be able to hear. We're also working on that muscle memory of remembering exactly the finger placement on each string. So many cool things that are happening at once. Let's look at the yellow box underneath number 69 called tempo markings. Tempo is the speed of music. Tempo markings are usually written above the staff in Italian. So there are 3 we're looking at. There are many more, but these are 3 basic ones. Allegro, which means fast, moderato, which means medium, and andante, which means slower or a walking tempo. Now, when you see a tempo marking on at the beginning of a piece of music, that does not mean that's the only tempo you're ever allowed to play the piece in. Always start slow. Speed is the easiest thing to add in to your playing once you have the muscle memory down of that particular piece. So just because number 70 says moderato, which is a medium tempo, does not mean that the only tempo we're ever allowed to play this and practice this in is moderato. We can start nice and slow, but what we want to do is work our way up to moderato. Let's look at number 70, hot cross buns. You know this piece. Think to yourself, if you're not sure, like, what is moderato, what is that tempo marking? And when it comes to a piece that you might know, just sing it to yourself. And whatever tempo that is, then just play it at that tempo, right? So when you sing hot cross buns, you're not singing hot cross buns, 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. That's not how you sing it. You also don't go hot cross buns. You don't sing it that slow, although that was kind of a cool remix. But you sing it hot cross buns, hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns. So that's the tempo we want to end up with. Let's first put our bow down and let's clap the rhythm to this piece. I just sang it for you, so the rhythm that we're playing is matching the rhythm that we sing when we sing this song. So it's nice that we're starting with a song that hopefully you already know, because then it's easier for you to tell whether you're playing it correctly or not on the violin. Let's count and clap for number 70. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Repeat. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. All right, let's look at what notes we're playing. We're playing F sharp, E, D, rest. F sharp, E, D, rest. D, 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 E, 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 E. F sharp, E, D, rest. So we're only playing 3 different notes in this song, and they're all happening on the D string. So F sharp is 2 fingers. So if you want to write that down, you absolutely can. E is 1 finger. D is open. All right, so let's just give it a go. Also, there's a repeat sign at the end, so we'll play it twice through. And if you remember what that apostrophe at the very end means, that is a bow lift, which means the last note that we played is going to be the first note that in the same direction as the first note that we play on the repeat. So it's a down bow, which means that last note we play is a down bow D, but also when we repeat, the first note is also a down bow, so we have to lift the bow, put it back up by the frog so that we can play 2 down bows in a row. Okay, let's try it once, and then that'll be it for today. Here we go. With the repeat, nice and slow. Let's start. D, E, F sharp. Let's do it. 1 and 2 and ready, play. Rest. Rest. Bow lift. Rest. 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 Okay, I hope that was a successful first sight reading for you, and we will continue working on that next time and then move on after that. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon.